Hey everybody, welcome back to AvidMax. We're here for another Tying Tuesday. My name is Travis Hanson. If you guys would go ahead and like and subscribe if you're enjoying the videos, that really helps grow the channel and the community. Today in the vise, I have another killer chironomid for you. You guys know that those are my favorite. This one is going to be one that's a little bit different. I'm going to be using ostrich turtle down here to kind of represent those little legs they have and kind of cutting them off at the top to change that profile a little bit. So let's get one running. In the vise, I'm going to be putting a size 10. Yep, we're doing a big one today. A size 10 TMC 201R from Umpqua. So getting started, we're going to be using some UTC 140 in dark gray. This thread color doesn't really matter because right now we're just adding on the gills. Go down with 3 or 4 wraps. For the gills, we're going to be adding on some sparkle wing emerger yarn, or you can use Antron yarn. Pretty convinced it's the same thing, just sold in a different way. Go in with your little pinch wraps, 1, 2. Then we're going to take off this tag end. Then we want to build a nice big head on here to keep this 1/8 ounce tungsten bead from sliding over the eye and covering the eye, because I like to put these on backwards for the chironomids just to make the head profile just a little bit smaller. So kind of slide that forward till you see it's going to be about right. Then we can go ahead and whip finish right in front of that. This is going to be a double rib chironomid, so we're going to be using 2 different ribs on this one. For the first color, you guys know I like to do a lot of color changes in my chironomids. We're going to be going on with that UTC 140 in dark gray. Go down about 3 or 4 wraps, and for the first rib, we're going to add Simperfly iridescent thread in the color pearl. I just have this cut off in a little strip, just like you would a wire. This is the same secondary rib that I use in the miracle cone. We're going to tie it on the same exact way. So work down towards the bend as far as you want your body to be. I like it to be right about there. I'm going to work back up towards the bead. Flatten out that thread while we grab our second rib. This second rib is going to be a D rib or a vinyl rib in a brown color. I believe it's going to be size small, but the label is ripped off, so I can't remember. And I'm tying this down to maintain this slender profile on the side of the hook that's near me. That's going to be to make sure that we don't add too much bulk to this, because if we tie it on the top, it's going to make the body bigger than we want. So we already have a rib on the top, so now we're adding our rib on the side. General rule of thumb is what gets wrapped last gets tied on first, so that's why we tied on our iridescent thread before the D rib. Now when you tie it on that D rib, you want to tie it on with the flat side facing the hook, so you're going to have the kind of pointed and ribbed side up, so that way when you wrap it, that's still exposed. We're going to build in our taper here with this first color. Make sure to flatten out your thread as you go to maintain that slim profile. I fish a lot of size 14 to 18, but every once in a while I'll see giant shucks in the water that are about a size, almost I'm convinced I've seen a size 8 in the water sometimes. Don't be afraid to throw on bigger ones like size 10s and 12s. I'm usually fishing anywhere between a size 14 and an 18, but depending on your water and what's hatching, adjust accordingly. Working up and down that shank to build in a taper. I'm going to go ahead and whip finish this thread when the taper is where you like it. Then we're going to go in with our UTC 70 and Rusty Brown. Give yourself just a little bit of room behind that bead because we're going to go in with some ostrich hurl. You don't want to build up too much of a collar there. Wrap this down to about the hook point there. Then blend that thread in. And hit it just a little. You can do a half hitch, but I always just like to do a little 2-turn whip finish to hold my thread from moving while I place it in my bobbin cradle. I'm going to go up with the D-rib first. Wrap that up the hook shank. And you can kind of stretch this and get less segmentation, or you can kind of let it go forward and get less tension on there and get more segmentation. So it's just kind of up to how you like it. So I'm just putting a little bit of tension, kind of pulling that out just a little bit. I like to get this where the last wrap lands right before I want to start my collar. So sometimes it takes just a little bit, readjust that spacing. It's not a huge deal, but it definitely helps not build up too much bulk. Cut out your D-rib. That's one of those ones where I probably could have pulled that a little bit tighter while I was cutting that off and gave myself a little bit cleaner of a tie-off point. But for video's sake, that's all right. Hit it with a little 2-turn whip finish. Grab your secondary rib. And I like to keep this one actually in front of the wire, in front of the first rib on this pattern. So when I'm wrapping this, kind of pulling this secondary rib into the first rib to keep it right up next to it with no gaps in between. your secondary rib. Then since we're adding ostrich churro, I always like to add my UV first, so that way we don't gum up the ostrich churro. So we're gonna go in the Solares Bone Dry. Nice thin coating of UV going all the way up. Help make sure those materials aren't going to go anywhere. It looks nice. Adds a little bit of shine to that pearl iridescent thread that we put on. I really like Solares Bone Dry because it's very thin viscosity. So it's perfect for chironomids and midges. It's perfect for securing your thread wraps when you whip finish. If you guys remember with the miracle cone, when you're tying in your ostrich churro, it has a stem that's protruding on one side and it's kind of concaved on the other side. Let's see if I can get that to show right there. So I'm tying this stem up, facing up towards the ceiling. And that's the purpose of that, is so that way when I wrap, the stem is wrapping facing towards the bead and not the hook bend. Because if the stem is on the hook bend, as I wrap forward, the stem is going to trap down all the ostrich churro and you're not going to be able to see it. So you want to keep that stem in front of the material you're laying down. So keep that stem up towards the ceiling, wrap down to where you want your collar or your legs to end. Then we're going to go in with our hackle pliers. These are Dr. Smith hackle pliers. They have a really nice grippy grip right here, and they kind of swing and move. So really like these a lot. There are better ones you can buy, but they cost a lot of money. For a good entry into it, and hell, I use these every day. I just don't need to spend $50 on hackle pliers. So you're gonna wrap these up, lop off, secure your ostrich, take this out, and then we're gonna go ahead and whip finish, but we're not done there. Okay, so I'm going to kind of take my fingers and wet them a little bit and bring that down. And we're just going to kind of cut this out. So I'm going to take my dubbing brush, actually, get these back up. I'm just going to come in from the top. I'm going to turn this. I know you guys aren't going to be able to see this very well, but I'm just cutting these fibers off away from the top and a little bit down the side, but you don't want to go too far down the side. So less is more. You guys might be able to see this side a little bit better. You can always take more off, but you can't put more back on. So if you look at that, they're just kind of hanging down from the bottom. We're going to take this, trim this just a little bit longer than the length of the bead, and then you can fluff those out. Make sure all your fibers are cut where you want them. And there you have it. Don't know what we're calling that one yet, but it's a fishy pattern. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in to another Tying Tuesday at AvidMax. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Really helps us out. Thank you guys.